Psalm 115. Psalm 115, if you're maybe looking for an idea what we're talking about, it's you are what you worship. You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat. And you might look at me and say, well, you must be a lot of cheeseburgers and pizza. And you would be right. That would be rude, but it would be right. But we're looking at you are what you worship. Just want to read some from Psalm 115. You may even have the little header there above that says heathen idols contrasted with the Lord. Just looking initially at verses 4 through 8 of Psalm 115. Their idols are like silver and gold, the work of man's hands. They have mouths, but they cannot speak. They have eyes, but they cannot see. They have ears, but they cannot hear. They have noses, but they cannot smell. They have hands, but they cannot feel. They have feet, but they cannot walk. They cannot make a sound with their throat. Those who make them will become like them, everyone who trusts in them. John Calvin, though I disagree with Calvinism, he did say that man's nature is a perpetual factory of idols. And he was right about that. We tend to make idols out of almost everything. And we ask, well, what is idolatry? I think historically, maybe a little figure or something like that, but Paul really puts it into perspective there in Colossians 3, verses 5 and 6. In Colossians chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, Paul, writing to those in Colossae, says, "Therefore, consider the members of your earthly body as dead to immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and greed or covetousness, which amounts to idolatry. For it is because of these things that the wrath of God will come upon the sons of disobedience." So Paul, he gives this laundry list of items, but really it's leading up to the definition of idolatry and covetousness or greed, which is idolatry. He adds that which is idolatry to separate it from the rest of everything else. It is a sin just like those other things, but specifically idolatry is covetousness. Now, why is that? Well, covetousness, it starts with the heart. That's where it stems from. A desire to put something in front of God. And what a man desires in his heart, that is what he is. So that's where it comes from. So idolatry, that too begins in the heart. Now we learn something terrifying really from the psalmist back there in Psalm 115, that idols, they may look valuable. They may look, it says there, like silver and gold, or maybe marble or something, but they might look valuable in their appearance, but in the end, they're powerless. And they pass away just like everything else. So notice what we learn in verse 8 of Psalm 115. Those who make them will become like them, everyone who trusts in them. We become what we worship. And when we worship idols, when we pursue these things, we become powerless. We become disconnected and discounted, just like the idols are. And pass away, just like these other things. So when we worship those things, when we pursue those things and put them before God, they become our idols. And we become just like them, that we are powerless. Ears that cannot hear, eyes that cannot see, hands that cannot feel. We are empty, and just like those idols, we too will pass away. That's one of the reasons why we worship God, to become as He was in the flesh, Not that we are to become God. We are not divine. We are never going to be divine. But in the sense that we worship God as he was in the flesh, to be pure love, to be completely humble, to be a servant of other people. That's, you become what you worship, just as you become what you eat. And we look there in Psalm 115 and picking up in verse 9. And we see these who trust in the Lord. O Israel, trust in the Lord. He is their help and their shield. O house of Aaron, trust in the Lord. He is their help and their shield. You who fear the Lord. Now, we're not the Old Testament house of Israel or of Aaron, but we are those who fear the Lord, trust in the Lord. He is our help. He is our shield. The Lord has been mindful of us. He will bless us. He'll bless the house of Israel, bless the house of Aaron. He will bless those who fear the Lord, the small together with the great. It's almost as though the psalmist, in writing this, he could have just left it at Israel. He could have left it at the house of Aaron. But it's almost as though God wanted us to be able to look back at this psalm and say, even though you are not the children that I brought out from under Pharaoh, even though you're not this priestly household of the Old Testament, even though we are priests according to Peter, the Lord is with us. The Lord watches us. The Lord keeps us and blesses us. Verse 16 and following, the heavens are the heavens of the Lord, but the earth he has given to the sons of men. The dead do not praise the Lord. Why? The dead referring to those who are worshiping idols, who have put other things before God, who have passed away from their idols. Do you think for one moment there is anybody suffering the pains and torments and that they're praising God for it? Absolutely not. The dead do not praise the Lord, nor do any who go down into silence. But as for us, verse 18, we will bless the Lord. From this time forth and forevermore, praise the Lord. How do you view Christ? It's just a sincere question for you to reflect on in those quiet moments. How do you view Christ? Is Christ more valuable than the way that you look? Yeah, that's one thing, because there are many people who they don't attend worship services because they don't have nice clothes. They're afraid of being judged by everybody. They put a value on the judgment of others and their clothes more than the value on worshiping Christ. Is Christ more valuable than the way you look? Is Christ more valuable than the money that you have? Is Christ more valuable than the substances that you might be ruled by, or by the sports games, or sleeping in on a Sunday morning? I was talking with Sherry, and it was, how was your Sunday afternoon? Hers was like mine. It was restful. We got that Sunday afternoon nap in. So many people, though, they value that Sunday morning nap. Is sleeping in more valuable to Christ? Whatever we put in front of God becomes an idol. It has no feelings. It cannot see, it cannot hear, it cannot taste, it cannot smell, it cannot feel. And when we do that, we become just like them. We become dead inside to God and the wonders that he has for us, the blessings that he has for us. As we leave here this evening and we go into the new week, to our homes, our places of employment, just out into the world, maybe we haven't been doing it always. Maybe we haven't been doing it every day. But let's remember those last words from verse 18. From this time and forever, praise the Lord. For he is good, for he is life. And if there's anything that we can do to help with that, then please let someone know, let me know, or afterwards get with someone, but speak with them about deepening and strengthening your faith in any way that we can, as together we stand and as we sing.